Ugh. Boy, oh boy. So, I'm going to the doctor's tomorrow, 'cause this cough has given me an absolute run for my money in ab workout. Like, you think P90X, P90XX, PX90, any of those ab workouts, you think that's a workout? No. Coughing 24/7 with no breaks in between throughout the entire day is just my whole entire stomach area is just killing me right now. But it's been a couple days since I have done a long video, so hopefully I will try to do my best not to cough. And if I do cough, I'll try to push it away from the mic. So the video that we are going to be taking a look at today is Flash versus Shine on Frost. It's a cross positions game on Frost, which kind of forces a long macro game because the Zerg player is able to take a fourth base relatively easily. And I believe that the timeline is Flash versus Shine happened first, and then Flash versus Action happened several days later. So this is kind of like a prequel video to the video I uploaded earlier about Flash's macro game on Frost. And so what we'll be focusing on here is kind of like what Flash was thinking of during that time in that game, and then what he could have improved on, and what he ultimately does improve on for his next game versus Action. So, ta-da! I'm so sad Flash didn't make it into the Code, but even though he hasn't had results, his learning of and understanding of the game has improved ever so much more. I think these games were played less than a week apart, and just from watching both of the videos, I feel like Flash has been able to recognize what he's doing wrong and to come up with a smarter game plan for approaching macro games on Frost. Now TvZ, of course, is every Terran's favorite matchup. Oh, well, it would have made more sense if I had air quotes around favorite, because I think it's safe to say that there isn't really a dominant Terran right now in the entire matchup. It's just a very difficult matchup in general, and it's felt all across the board. I don't think there are a lot of people, if any, who would agree that their TvZ gameplay is their strongest matchup right now. It might be their favorite, but maybe not most likely not their strongest. So, some things to note. In this game, Flash, he does similar builds versus Shine and versus Action. However, the main differences in his game plan is that he takes his fourth base really late in this game, whereas versus Shine, he takes it extremely quickly. No, I mean versus Action, he takes it very quickly. And by quick, I mean in the Flash versus Action game, he started his fourth base at about 12 and a half minutes, I believe. And it was already on the ground and mining by like 16:30 at the very latest. I'm giving some leeway of time here just because I don't remember the exact timings, but I'm just giving some room for error just to prove my point, which is that I think on cross positions Frost, Flash has recognized that since you cannot really punish the fourth base of the Zerg player, the most logical thing to do next for him was to take a fourth base and stay even bases on as the Zerg and kind of like have the same economy and prevent the Zerg from taking a fifth base, because the fifth base areas here and here, they're pretty far away for the Zerg player. So it's definitely a struggle for the Zerg player to take a fifth base on this map. It becomes a lot more susceptible to drops, and they're just way out of the way, and it would have to take creep spreading for a very long portion of the game in order to be able to safely secure Creep Highway, to secure the base, to secure everything. Secured. Ugh. I hope I get some good medicine that stops this coughing. I can't take it. So, this is very standard build for Flash. One big difference is that he has opted to hide his third command center, and by hide I mean not put it right where the wall is. That's usually where he puts his third command center. It doesn't make a big difference. It just kind of keeps Shine guessing for a little bit longer, because any player would like to know exactly what you're doing rather than like being 90% sure but not knowing completely what you're doing and seeing the third command center. So he does see the third command center, so now he knows what's going on, so it's not that big of a deal. I believe Flash walls off with the engineering base. I've seen him wall off like 3 different ways on this map, and Frost is a really great map to wall off on. You can use engineering bays, you can use simple depot bunker wall, you can use a command center, and you can it's a small choke that it makes walling off extremely easy to do. And okay, so the main difference here is that Flash decided to do a 3 Reaper opening, and in the game versus Action, he went for a 14 command center. So although they're different builds, it's the same style that he's doing, which is important to note. So the exact build order itself isn't going to be as nearly as important this game as the concepts and what Flash tries to accomplish with his army and where he tries to move his army towards is what we'll be looking forward to. I've also noticed that a lot of Terran players have started to add on their second or their 2 engineering bays before their second and third barracks. I don't know if it's just a style thing that's coming back into place because of the lack of all-ins lately, or it's just safe to do and that you can hold versus different kinds of all-ins. Not 100% sure on that. I'd have to play a lot more games to find out versus all-ins. But it does look like it's fairly safe against any all-ins. And Flash, of course, he always scans at about 9 minutes if there's a third base at the natural to see the evo chambers, if there's evo chambers or not. And that's the biggest tell to if it's going to be an all-in or not. If you see the evo chambers, you know that it's going to be macro play. If you don't see the evo chambers there, you know it might not be. There we go. So now he knows it's macro play. He sees the Baneling nest, so he knows exactly what Shine is doing as well. So both players, there's no guessing as to what the other player is doing currently. They're basically playing with map hacks, and the next series of events is going to be solidified, and it's all going to come down to execution. This right here, not good for Flash. Those Hellions kind of prevent him from moving out, and it also allows, every time you lose your Hellions, you lose map control, and when that happens, it allows the Zerg to make nothing but drones for like a round or 2 of units, and that's not good. Not good at all. And not only does it let the Zerg freely drone up, it also denies your third base from landing for another period of time until you get your medevac out. Because Zerglings are just going to be able to surround your units, and there's no good way to wall off on this map. Of course, you could always wall off the choke, but it's not really realistic to wall off until later in the game. That was really fortunate by Flash, being able to snipe that Overlord to prevent minimal amount of creep spread. It was slightly risky though, but I guess since he knew that Shine made a lot of Zerglings, Flash did trade evenly for the Zerglings way back when he lost his Hellions. So Shine's 2 moves would have either been to drone up, which he did, or to make a lot more units and do an all-in attack, which is a lot riskier and usually doesn't work. So I guess it was kind of like a calculated move out with the Marine Poke, which ended up paying off for him because he basically knew that Shine was going to drone up, because that's what every Zerg player does after you lose Hellions. Either that or they do an all-in. And if they do an all-in, well, losing those Marines is okay. It was just a few, and plus he's not going to be wanting to take his third base for a little bit longer until the all-in has subsided. So, going over kind of the main ideas of what's going on, Flash, he has his infrastructure in place. He is able to make 1 Marauder, 8 Marines, 2 Hellbats, 2 Medivacs, and some other buildings as well. Those counterattacks by Shine, although they didn't do a lot of damage, they did, like, he was forced to stim back. That might have actually been a mistake, I don't quite know. But he also lost a lot of time to move out. Basically, those Zerglings delayed Flash's move out push by about a full minute. So he's out on the map now, and it's 12 minutes in, when usually you want to be out on the map at 11 minutes when your first 2 medivacs pop out. So although the counterattacks did nothing, they bought Shine time, and time is a very important resource in this game. And now Flash, he's adding his second factory. Some more counterattacks going in by Shine. I think that was very good play on Shine's part. And doing some more counterattacks. So essentially Shine is kind of shifting the aggression towards Flash, and therefore Shine has the momentum in this game. So it's Flash's job to try to mess Shine up and get the momentum back in his favor. But these multi-pronged attacks by Shine, and we'll see it throughout the rest of the game, it kind of becomes Shine's modus operandi. No, not that. It becomes his signature move, doing a bunch of counterattacks, 2-pronged counterattacks, and completely circumventing Flash's army. And right now, this is about the time when Flash's command center would have been starting in the game versus action, but as we see here, there is no sign of a 4th command center starting. So that's a very important game plan part that Flash was able to fix after he lost this game by taking the 4th base earlier. And plus, taking the 4th base also means that you don't necessarily need to kill the Zerg player with this kind of move out. You can kind of just clear creep and do some defensive maneuverings so that the counterattacks don't do so much damage, and then when that's all done and over, you'll have a 4th base to fall back on. Whereas in this case, Flash doesn't have a 4th base to fall back on. And right there, both of those 2 little groups of units that Shine is going to use to counterattack. And as we can see here, he has 3 groups of units, but he's like in a really great spot to do a counterattack against Flash. And of course Flash can't just go base race because of the creep spread there. So now he's forced to turn back. He does a good job of zoning these units out, but these units, like, Shine takes some damage, yes, but is that game-ending damage? Is that significant damage? No. And what did that accomplish? It accomplished Flash pulling his entire army back and wasting time. All Shine wants to do is buy time for his 2-2 to finish, for his 4th base to start mining. So that's why he keeps threatening with all of these small groups of units and doing all of these guerrilla tactics. As we see here, not a great trade because he was off creep. I think Shine might have been trying to attack move over there to set up a counterattack, but he does so anyways with the Mutalisks. But then, like the depot wall, if you try to attack move over there, then sometimes it messes up and it forces you to go through the watchtower where Flash's army was. That Mutalisk counterattack, very, very important. It stops the 3rd base from mining, and it also forced Flash to kind of take this engagement. He's on creep right now. It's not a good place to be. He's basically on creep for the entire engagement, and then the Mutalisks are still able to come back and finish up the fight and kind of like clean up the rest of the medevacs after being able to swoop over to the third, lift it up, and deny mining time and kill a couple SCVs as well. So this game, even though Flash has the basic build in place, getting those 3/3 upgrades, going Hellbat, Thor, Marine, Marauder, he's kind of just very flustered right now against Shine's constant aggression, and he's just not able to move out this game and really do any damage besides clearing some creep. All he's done is cleared some creep from getting to that watchtower over there, and traded somewhat cost inefficiently against Shine's Muta-Baneling army. And right now, Flash's 4th base has finally started. It's not gonna his 3/3 is gonna be finished before the 4th base lands and starts mining. The difference between this game and Action's game is that in the game versus Action, Flash's 4th base was mining, I believe, around the time 3/3 started, so he had a very, very healthy economy to fall back on. And in this game, he still has a decent economy. He is on 3 bases, but he doesn't have a 4th base to fall back on. And a 4-base Zerg versus a 3-base Terran player, the 4-base Zerg is gonna win. That's interesting. This counterattack though. So I believe the quality isn't the best for me, but I believe Shine has both of the watchtowers. So he sees Flash's army move out, and that's when he decides to do another counterattack. Let's just double check that. So these Mutalisks are here. They know. Okay, so the Mutalisks, even if he didn't have the watchtowers, the Mutalisks see the main armies over there. So now he's going to go in and do a counterattack. Once again, he doesn't have to trade cost efficiently. He still gets a good amount of SCVs. He stops mining time. He also kind of starts to supply block Flash as well because all of his depots are there. And then he does another counter attack with his Mutalisks. Flash is able to defend that off though. And he took kind of minimal damage, but once again, it's all about buying time. And as we can see here, Shine, he's getting his Hive Tech. He's going to be starting 3/3 very soon. So the longer he can force Flash from applying pressure with his big army and standing right outside of his base, and like force him to keep making Banelings and Mutalisks, or no, just Banelings and Zerglings. So the longer he can prevent Flash from doing that, the better time he'll have in this game teching to Hive and getting all of his Hive Tech out. Once again, Flash and Shine, their armies are pretty even right now. Flash has a very low SCV count, so his army, when he maxes out in a couple production rounds, is going to be larger than Shine's. But we still see Shine. He has this Mutalisk force over here. He has a group of units over here, and then he has another group of units over here. So all of Flash's bases are potentially threatened, except for the main. The natural is threatened here. The 3rd base is threatened from here, and the Mutalisks can just dance around the army and never be touched. I believe this is here also in expectations of the 4th base, and to kind of deny that. Flash's 4th base is extremely late. It's going to be down at 19 minutes now, and all he's really done this game is run around trying to deal with Shine's counterattacks and to try to apply pressure as well. And I really like Shine taking the 5th base over here because he has complete map control right now. He knows that. All of his units are spread out comfortably. He's retaking the creep. He's already passed the watchtower. His creep spread is phenomenal as well. It just looks so beautiful, all the waves of creep tumors. It's basically a wave of creep. And since he has the momentum, all of these units are able, like, he doesn't need to have the units at home, and he's not being directly threatened. So as a result, he can have these units here, and it would be it's basically trading on Flash's front instead of his, and he's trading them offensively instead of defensively. As we can see here, the Mutalisk problem getting kind of big. Flash, uh, he's just getting chipped apart here by Shine's guerrilla tactics. Shine never really engaged in Flash's army directly. Maybe there was like one engagement, there was another one where he kind of backed out, but Flash really hasn't had an opportunity to engage Shine's army head on. Yeah, and so this force was here in expectation of the 4th base. He basically waited until the planetary was down so that Flash couldn't lift it up, and then killed it. So Shine recognizes the importance of having a 4th base as a Terran player on cross positions in this map, and that's why he specifically had a bunch of Banelings and Zerglings there waiting to kill the 4th base, instead of like running into the natural and trying to do damage that way. So it was a very strategical tactic that he did, and I really like that by Shine. And now he's just able to, he's basically spreading Flash's army thin, and he's using his more mobile force to deal a lot of damage to Flash's army. One of the ways to stop Mutalisks from being so aggressive is by sending drops. It requires a lot of multitasking though to like pick up drops. As soon as you see like Mutalisks in, let's say like this area, you send a drop this way and then this way to like draw the Mutalisks away, because the Mutalisks will follow the drop because it's the only way to shut down the drop completely. So that's kind of one way to help turn momentum back into your favor. But you kind of like have to play footsies with your opponent and try to catch your opponent out of position and force him into a more defensive positioning. It's a very tricky game to play if you're trying to get the momentum back into your favor. As we can see here, Flash, he's not even trying to move out and like clear the creep. Shine's creep spread is very, very scary. Shine's creep spread is extremely scary right now. There's no way that Flash can even deal with it in like one scan. He's gonna need like 3 to 4 scans just to clear out the middle part. This is the drop I was talking about. It kind of forces the Mutalisks back. The Mutalisks are over here, and now they're gonna zip straight towards the drop. It's like giving honey to a honey bear. And there they go. So even though this drop is gonna die, what it's done is it forced the Mutalisks back. Ooh, that's bad pathing by Flash. But it forces the Mutalisks back so that they can't continue like harassing your base, and instead they want to clean up the drop instead. And there's another drop going on by Flash. He's kind of like, this is a good trade for Flash, but let's just wait for it to end just to make sure. I'm pretty sure this was the fight he won. I don't really know how though. Yeah, like he won that pretty decently, but he has no bank as a result. Shine has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fully operating bases. He's taking his 6th base right now. He has plenty of resources to transition into Infestor Broodlord, which he is doing right now. And Terran on 4 bases, well, Terran on 3 bases simply can't transition fast enough. Like, you can't add starports and start making Vikings to deal with the Infestor Corruptor Broodlord composition. You just don't have the economy for that. And even when you're on 4 bases, your time is limited. So the position that Shine has himself in is kind of like a checkmate, because he has a bank. He can transition into Broodlord Corruptor, and if Flash tries to stop him by making Vikings, if he overmakes Vikings or even starts committing to making Vikings, all Shine has to do is switch back into Ultra Muta Baneling composition, and then those Vikings and the starport production is going to be completely useless, and that's kind of gonna shoulda, woulda, will drain Flash thin on resources, as we can see right here. This is mostly because of Shine doing a good job of denying Flash's 4th base. Well, it's a culmination of things. It's Shine doing that counterattack to deny Flash's 4th base. it is Flash taking his fourth base so gosh damn late, and like now he's finally established it, but he's already mined out in his main and his natural, so he's really only on like 2 base economy instead of the 3 base economy that he wants to be on. And so now Flash is kind of just in a pickle. And even though the game isn't over yet, it is over because Shine has all of the cards in his hand that he needs to win. And even though Flash has a few that might do some good damage, it's not enough to finish Shine off. And Shine can weather the storm very easily. It would basically, the only way Flash could win in this game from here on now is if Shine makes like 30 Banelings and then just blows them up for free by misclicking, like doing the life Baneling attack. But that's really the only way he'd be able to have a chance of winning in this game. And so now, I don't really want to go on to finish the rest of the game. If you're in this kind of a position as the Terran player, you most likely have done something wrong. And that's kind of what Flash has recognized from the changes he made between him versus Shine and him versus Action. The differences mainly being that you can't push towards the fourth base. It's too hard to kill it unless your opponent is really bad, but you have to play with the expectations that your opponent is a good player and a smart player. So the best way to play cross positions Frost, he's figured out basically, is to take a fourth base very fast, kind of stay defensive until 3-3, and then just hit a timing to kind of like deal with Shine's army and kind of prevent, or not Shine, the Zerg's army, and preventing him from kind of getting out of control. And like the army movements beforehand, Flash didn't really get a chance to clear any of the creep spread in this game. He got one scan off in the middle, that was decent, but then Shine did a bunch of counterattacks, and he was just able to spread the creep back out really far. And when the creep gets this far out, it's not good. Not good at all. You basically need to have like 5 bases and mass orbitals, and then you have to have like drops in different areas where the creep is going, and then like scan them multiple times. But that takes a lot of resources, and Flash didn't set himself up very well to be in a position to do that. So with the given resources that Flash has right now, he just can't deal with the creep spread. So I guess I'll kind of like fast forward the game. The supply difference, very, very big. This is kind of similar to a Terran player denying the Zerg's fourth base. Yes, the Zerg player can continue making units, but he's eventually going to mine out, and he can't tech switch into any other kinds of tech. That's kind of what we see that's happening to Flash right here. His base has been denied, his economy has been denied, but he still has a good enough income to make an army, but he just can't tech switch out of this army. So like this is the kind of army that you would normally see versus, oh, let's say just like a Muta Baneling army. And luckily Shine had a lot of like, he had a lot of queens taking up army supply. He didn't have enough Mutas and Banelings to do a good enough damage, and his Broodlords weren't in the fight at all, which made his Muta Baneling count even smaller, so that the bio would just be able to split it apart and kill it. Although Flash won that fight, this creep spread is a really big problem, and it's given Shine a big enough buffer to prevent Flash from just marching across the map and just killing him. Like Shine has been given like a minute just to remake his army, spend his bank, comfortably get into a good position, make sure he has the right amount of units. Flash, he's doing the best thing that he can in this situation, which is to take out Shine's remaining bases. That was a big overstim. If the observer highlighted all of Flash's units, they would all have 1 stim on them at least, because he only has like, oh my gosh, he only has like 2, 3, 4, 5 medevacs to clean that up. This is still good engagement by Flash. It's more because Shine is being extremely careless. I think he thought he had the game in the bag. Yeah, like he's tearing apart Flash's fourth base. So all he has to do is, as soon as he cleans up the army, Flash isn't going to have any economy left to continue mining. So even though that was a sloppy engagement, uh, Shine still knows that he can afford to take like one or two more of those engagements and still come out ahead because he simply just has a better economy than Flash. And like I was saying before, Shine has like different options to tech switch into different things. He had a little bit corrupter Broodlord, and that kind of forced Flash to make some Vikings. Now his medevac count is at 1 right now because he was making Vikings out of the starport to deal with the Broodlords. Now that the Broodlords are dealt with, all he has to do is transition into Ultra Baneling and Fester. Now the Vikings are useless, and Flash committed a lot of resources to dealing with the Broodlord and Fester tech, so now he has to slowly work his way back into making an army, but he just doesn't have any economy right now. So the main idea of this game for Shine was to kind of delay Flash's economy from going. He delayed the fourth base for such a long time while also buying himself time with counterattacks to take a fifth and sixth base, spread creep all over the map, and to secure the momentum as well. And Shine did that with a bunch of counterattacks that kind of left Flash's army flustered. He couldn't exactly push across because of the creep. He also couldn't, he can't chase the army either. All Shine has to do is back up, and that slowly leaves Flash's units even more out of position. But he also can't move out as well. So he's kind of just stuck in a defensive positioning. And he's decided, when he's in a defensive positioning like this, it's to just kind of take your bases and try to catch up economically versus the Zerg player. Let me just fast forward a bit. Oh my gosh. Though that's really hard to stop. I think you need like a spotter there, and you need a good heads up or like a wall to prevent the banelings from doing anything, because that is so hard to stop. You really have to be looking at your minimap like 24/7, and even as we saw here, Flash doesn't even do that. Flash, he has a sizable army, but he just isn't able to tech switch, and he doesn't have the economy to make anything else to deal with the Broodlords, and while Shine does. Like, this is a good fight, but this is Flash's entire army, and Flash, or Shine, knows that Flash can't remake that entire army. So, it was kind of a shorter game, or a shorter broadcast, but I really think it's kind of like Star Wars, where the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th movies were made first, and then the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd were made second, kind of like as a prequel. That's what this video kind of feels like. It feels like watching Flash before he kind of figured out what to do against Zerg, and then watching Flash versus Action is kind of just like watching a whole different version of Flash, because he was able to take a 4th base faster. He did a better job at limiting creep with strategic army movements, and he wasn't trying to be so aggressive and kind of brute force his way into forcing Shine to take engagements. So yeah, this, if you guys haven't watched the other Frost game between Flash versus Action, I'll put it in the link, and I'll just say it as part 2. But for the most part, I don't really I think you can learn just as much from watching a game going backwards as you can watching a game going forwards. It's just a lot harder to see the good points about it. In this case, we were able to understand Flash's decision making and what he does after he loses a game, and how he shapes his game plan to kind of like deal with the difficulties that he was dealing with, and like what he comes up, and the solutions that he comes up to being able to play TvZ on cross positions Frost. So hope you guys enjoyed the VOD, and don't forget to subscribe, and part 2 will be on the bottom. I think my next video, I still have to watch. Someone messaged me a bunch of TVP games between or doing the reactor Hellion build or just like a gas first build. So in my spare time, I plan on watching those and then probably making a video out of it. I don't know if it's going to be a short or a long one. It'll all have to do with the amount of information I can get from the VODs. Alright, so see you guys later.